Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster, and we're here for part 2 of What If Deku Had Vault Rabbit. Now then, if you haven't seen it, please stop watching right now and do go watch part 1 of this. Now with that being said, before we start this What If, hit it. Okay, now then. As Izuku gets up and gets ready for the UA entrance exam, his mother wished him good luck, as well as getting a text from his aunt, also wishing him good luck. He meets up with Sue and they head over to the exam site. Once they get to UA, they see a lot of other people going in, including Bakugo. He's confident in this one. His strength, speed, and agility are good, so he doesn't trip and he feels completely confident. As they do head out to do the written portion of the test, Izuku wishes Sue good luck and vice versa. Afterwards, and the written portion is all taken care of, we then head over to the portion where they go into the auditorium to watch the explanation of the hero course exam. With President Mike explaining everything about the robots and such, and Ida asking. Midoriya is deadly focused at the moment, so he's not really muttering. So Ida doesn't kind of nag him. Though he does still find out that people aren't being paired up in battlefields where people that they would know from the same school are in. Since Izuku is in Battlefield B and Bakugo in Battlefield A. As he goes over to the Battlefield B, he sees that Sue is there as well. He doesn't go to the same school that him and Bakugo go to, which given his mobility and such isn't a problem for them to hang out. So yeah. As he sees her getting ready and such, he just lets her do her own thing as he gets ready and stretches out. Which is when President Mike announced that, alright, let the test begin. Real battles don't have countdown, so neither does this. As the gates open, Izuku and Sue pounce right through the gate. As Sue states, looks like you were able to get ahead of me in this one. As he smirks, stating, yeah, honestly, I can't believe they're waiting so long. As the other examinees realize that they have to get going and charge in, with Sue using her tongue to swing some of the robots around, slamming into one another. Izuku used his feet to full on destroy them with his kicks, while using his hands to electrify the others. He racked up quite a number of points. Within 10 minutes of the exam, he thinks he's to start using One for All, though minimizes it to the 8% that he could have at the lowest percent he can do it, since he still needs to work on the managing the percents portion of training for One for All, and starts destroying them much easier and faster. As we see inside of the room where the teachers and faculty are watching the exam, The teachers are noticing some very good students to be candidates for the hero course. So, yeah, as they get to Bakugo stating that his combat ability is pretty insane. As Principal Nezu notes that Izuku Midoriya also seems to have quite the combat aptitude. As he does know about One for All, he takes a look and thinks, so, this is the one Toshi picked as his successor. Not bad. Not to mention, it seems as though he's actually the nephew of a pro hero. It's an interesting quirk, to say the least, but I do hope he doesn't go overboard. Don't need to destroy the city, just the robots. As everything goes similar to in canon, we see Zuko calming down, letting down the percentage of One for All, as he figures he has enough points. This is until he begins to hear rumbling, as students or examinees begin to run off, as he turns around seeing that there's a giant robot, the zero pointer, that it's just coming through causing damage to the nearby buildings. As he thinks of what to do now, he hears a yell and looks down, seeing Sue pinned. Looks like a large chunk of rubble hit her leg, and now she can't jump away. As the robot reaches down for her, he charges up to 85%, which is the max he can do for One for All safely now. But upon this incident, he automatically changes, switching over to his, let's say he calls it his lunar form, considering he goes pure white and such, as he blitzes towards the robot, kicking the robot's hand, causing it to be completely destroyed all the way to the shoulder. Next, he jumps up and powers up a kick that is not only charged up with One for All throughout his whole body, but also the electricity portion of his quirk is being highly amplified by his quirk. With a single kick, it's sent flying back. But not only that, but the head of the zero pointer is torn off, as the electrical portion of his quirk sent an electrical surge throughout the robot as well as the nearby area, shutting down cameras, lighting, and nearby robots as they just began to stop working. After he landed, it was announced that the test was over. Izuku looked at his hands, thinking, this is what it's like using One for All with my transformation. Incredible. As he then remembers and goes over to Sue asking if she's okay, he says, yeah, I'm fine, but I think my leg might be a little busted, as he hurries up and kicks the rubble off of her, picking her up. With the test over, Recovery Girl comes in checking for injuries. As uh, Aoyama explains who Recovery Girl is, Izuku hurries up and gets Sue to her, as he does use her quirk to heal her. Apparently, it was only just some fractures on her bones in her leg and foot, along with a slightly sprained ankle. As afterwards, she was taken to go get a secondary checkup at the nurse's office. With the test all done, we see some of the examinees just awestruck by what Izuku just did as he changes back to his normal state, remarked as they just looked stunned. And very impressed at his power. As Sue is about to be taken away by the little gurney robot, he states, I always enjoy seeing you when you transform like that. As he smirks, stating, I know, though I can't stay like that for long during the day. As he smirks, thinking, wait, if I took in one for all and it's supposed to strengthen my quirk, wouldn't that mean that I can now stay in it longer? Something to ponder for later. As Sue was taken away, later, him and Sue met up after she was double checked at the nurse's office, and they went home. Later on, Izuku and Sue both got their acceptance letter to UA as they both found out that they were going to be in Class 1A. Getting prepared, they got their uniforms, school supplies, and such, and are ready to go. They do go together to the first day of school looking for the door as they run into the uh, door of Class 1A with Izuku remarking, That's a big door. With Sue following up with, I wonder what kind of people our classmates are like, and if any of them are why the door is this large. As they go to open it up, they see Bakugo and Ida fighting, with Sue stating, Yeah, I kind of figured if anybody was going to be doing something like this, it'd be Bakugo. As Ida notices Izuku, as well as the other class members, Ida rushes towards Izuku, remarking that he was impressive at the entrance exam, as well as him figuring out about the hidden point regiment of hero points, since he did get an impressive amount, and not to mention his combat points. So he did get the top score. With this, uh, Ida does remark about how he must be really impressive, especially in schoolwork, to realize the hidden criteria. As Zuku states, no, I just kind of did things on instinct against that 0 pointer. As we then hear another girl remark from behind them, stating, Hey, you're the rabbit guy who destroyed the 0 pointer, right? As this is Ochako, who didn't get injured this time, but was in there to see what happened, as he remarked about how cool it was of what he did, only to have Aizawa stop them, stating, If you're only here to make friends, then just leave. As they just see a man in a sleeping bag laying on the floor outside their classroom door. He gets out, introducing himself as their teacher, and gives them an explanation that they'll be skipping orientation and going straight to the sports field, showing off a gym uniform, telling them to get the gym uniforms on there and meet him at the sports field. As they get dressed, it Kirishima remarked, Hey, you, you, that rabbit quirk of yours kind of reminds me of the hero Mirako. As he remarks, Well, yeah, that is my aunt. As Ida states, that does make sense, though you yourself do seem more rabbit-like than her. As he scratches the back of his head, stating, Yeah, I guess so. Unlike my aunt, I have fur. Scratching his face, feeling the fur on it. With, of course, Mineta being a creep over Izuku's aunt, the hero Miriko, Izuku leans towards him, stating, "Please do not say that kind of stuff about my aunt in front of me. I won't hesitate to use you as a rugby ball." Since they're in Japan, they don't have, football. The closest thing is rugby. But I believe they still have something like kickoff, so yeah. As Mineta understands nervously, stating, "Yeah, okay, I get it." As they head out to the sports field, Aizawa throws Izuku a ball, telling him to send it as far as he can, using his quirk. As he thinks for a moment, he charges up one for all as much as he can, throws it up into the air, and then as it comes down from a he full on kicks it, sending it flying. Let's say about 300 meters or so. As this impresses everybody. And he didn't even have to transform. As Aizawa explains everything about them using their quirks in these physical exams, that they couldn't do that earlier in middle school and such, as a way for him to see what he has to work with. So with that, the students begin to get rather excited, but that's quickly rained down on when Aizawa states that the person who comes in last place is going to be expelled, which causes all of them to freeze up instantly, as they're now afraid of failing and ending up getting kicked out of UA before anything really starts. As for the tests themselves, Izuku uses his one for all in each of them at the max percent he can do, which does get him pretty much first marks in each one, causing Bakugo to be angry at this, thinking Izuku was holding back all this time. Though he already knows that his aunt could pretty much kick a truck up into the air a couple stories. And he also knows that bone structure wise, he can handle it better than his aunt. So he's thinking that maybe he shouldn't complain about not getting kicked by that kind of force. But he's still annoyed. As the test is over, it's revealed that Mineta is in last place, Izuku's in first. As for the other placements, it's pretty much the same. But Mineta is freaking out, thinking he got expelled, but Aizawa states as he breathes in, stating, "Well, looks like this will be a good warning for you to work harder, won't it, Mineta?" As he looks at Aizawa confused, and Aizawa explains that it was a lie for them to go all out, causing some students to just get really mad at him, and also others relieved. But when Momo stated that she did think this was what was going to happen, thinking as well as saying that maybe she should have told the others, while the others just thought, "Yeah, you should have." After that, Aizawa left, seeing All Might, asking what he's doing. All Might thinks on his feet and states, "Nothing. Just thought I should take a look at the new potential heroes. It seems like we got a good batch this year, huh?" As Aizawa states, "You're just starting this year as a teacher. Though I must agree, potential wise, we got some golden eggs, I guess you could say." Not only is Endeavor's son, who has two quirks here, that Bakugo kid does have a bad temper, but has some potential. Then there's that Midoriya one. He's powerful. If I had to say, he might even be more powerful than his aunt. Which, hopefully, he doesn't inherit too much of her attitude. As he sighs, remarking about the time he met her and thought she was more abrasive than needed. Which I would imagine that would be Mirko in a nutshell. She is very aggressive. So, yeah. As time goes on, we get to the point of the uh, combat test, where All Might bursts in to the classroom, showing off his Silver Age costume. And as they're just looking at All Might and excited to be in his class, he then states that their first hero course test will be a combat test. As he then reveals the suits coming out of the wall. As he holds a bag, Izuku thinks, I got it covered already. As he thinks back to what his mother gave him, as he states, this was something I talked about with your aunt, and she actually helped out with it. The hero costume he's wearing is actually somewhat of a put together using the canon versions of his shoes for the kick thing, which Mirko thought could be useful for him while he's training. And it isn't really streamlined or spandex, but he has combat pants to go with the boots. And he is going with a sleeveless top. Other than that, he has the same face mask, since he doesn't need the hood considering he already has the ears. But he still does have the gloves as well as the elbow braces, or elbow pads and such. So yeah, as All Might remarks that clothes make the pros, and they are the example. After explaining everything about the combat portion, where two people will be randomly selected, one for villains and one for heroes. For the heroes to win, they either have to capture the bomb just by touching it, or capture the villains by wrapping them up in capture tape. As for the villains, they either have to capture the heroes or protect the bomb until time runs out. As for the ones that are paired up, for Zuko, it's still Uraraka, just to help keep it more like canon. As for Bakugo, this time he ends up with Todoroki. As Todoroki and Bakugo are set up as villains, and Izuku and Ochako are the heroes. After this, we see All Might gesture about the other students going to the Azure observation room. But before they part, Tsu sneakily walks up to Izuku and gives him a peck on the cheek, telling him good luck, as he blushes a little bit, stating thanks, and run off, with Ochako kind of gasping and poking fun at Izuku, stating, oh, well, aren't you lucky? With him being kind of embarrassed, stating, come on. they gotta focus as they begin with their plan. From what they saw from the uh, test that they did, I would imagine that they would know about Todoroki's ice powers, as when he did the exam for the recommended portion, he used it as a means of momentum in a race. So I would think it wouldn't change in that aspect. So they knew Todoroki could control ice, but not to how high of a degree. But they also figured that he might be able to control heat. Izuku knew a little bit from his aunt and what he heard from her, and gave it to uh, Ochako, which he does get it. Though before the test begins, the entire building just freezes up. This was done as somewhat of a precaution measure, as Bakugo and Todoroki made their own plans. First, Todoroki would freeze the building in its entirety, to slick up the floor, walls, and ceiling, making it harder for Izuku to have something stable to stand on for or to bounce off of for him to maneuver around, which would be a good idea given his quirk in this one. The rabbit powered jumps won't do much good in a place where the floor, ceiling, and walls are all slicked with ice. And with Bakugo being able to maneuver around in mid-air, he has the advantage in this one. As for their plan, they think about it for a moment, as Izuku states they'll probably be waiting for us at the bomb, as he thinks, and figures out a method of attack for them, as he relays it to Ochako and asks about her quirk. He tells him everything about her quirk as they come up with a plan. Once the battle begins, Ochako made herself weightless, and Izuku took her arm as he jumped up high enough to go over the ceiling. But on the way up, he paid attention to the windows and noticed that the bomb was secure on the second from the top floor. As they land on the roof, they hurry up to go to the door. Since it's frozen shut, Izuku had to kick it down, like literally off the hinges. This obviously caught their attention, and they knew that they would be coming for the roof. Izuku and Ochako ran clean in, with Izuku making sure that Ochako knew the plan, as he said, "Yes, your plan might work actually. It has a good chance to, at least." As they run into the room where the bomb is, instantly Todoroki throws ice, but using one for all, Izuku breaks it apart, creating all kinds of shards. As he nods towards Ochako, and the fight begins. Bakugo would go after Izuku, attacking. With his speed as well as his shoes having some added features to prevent slick, it did help in this situation, but not enough to help him move as he would like. As he avoided Bakugo, sending some shocks to him here and there, just enough to get him as mad as possible to keep his focus on him. As for Todoroki, he kept making ice that Izuku kept breaking with brute force. As this continued, they were so focused on they were just so focused on Izuku, and as he was maneuvering around, taking as many shots as he could at both Bakugo and Todoroki, which he did get a couple of times to get close to him to use his electric shock on him. Not to make him pass out, but to make him just move from his spot. As they found themselves on each side, where the bomb would be next to the window dead center, but in the room that was long, it would be that Izuku and Izuku would be on the left side of the bomb while Todoroki and Bakugo would be on the right side. But they then noticed there was a massive cluster of ice pieces that were behind Izuku. This was what they planned. While Izuku would constantly break Todoroki's ice, Ochako would use her quirk to make the chunks fly for later use. As Izuku pounced back, getting behind the large cluster of ice, he nods at Ochako and with a mighty kick sends it flying all the ice chunks at Bakugo and Todoroki. As Bakugo used his explosions to get rid of the ice or defend against it, as Todoroki made an ice wall. While they were defending against this massive wave of ice just flying at them, Izuku took this opportunity and was able to catch the bomb, letting them win. Afterwards, at the observance room, All Might mentioned that Izuku was the MVP of this exercise and asked the students why that is, with Momo replying with, well, not only did Izuku act as a decoy keeping Todoroki and Bakugo's focus on them, he also blew apart multiple chunks of ice that allowed his partner to create some material to use her quirk with, as well as using it for later use in an all-out attack that would leave an opening to grab the bomb. All in all, it was a sound strategy, which All Might was begrudgingly annoyed because he didn't get to explain anything since she covered everything. As for the downfall of the villains, they were too focused on one person and forgot about the partner, which cost them the match to be fair. Though Izuku had to hold back a lot since his percentage control isn't that great. He could have ended up just tearing up the top two floors of the building, causing it to fall on them if he wasn't careful. And so he wasn't really comfortable using one for all in this situation. At least not at max percent. 8% was good and would do for what he needed. So yeah, afterwards all the other uh, things went as in canon, only with Todoroki being swapped out with Ida for the one Todoroki was in for canon. So after everything and they begin to leave, Sue congratulated Izuku on winning as Ida and Ochako ran up to them, remarking that they want to follow them to go to the train and that they want to be friends. Ochako and Sue hit it off pretty well, and Ida and Izuku were talking about combative techniques with their legs, since that was a key part of their fighting style. Though it was shortly cut off for a moment when Bakugo ran up to them, stating that I'm not going to lose to you. I won't. I'll best you. Just watch. With a serious look as he storms away. But further up on a floor of the U.S. Of UA, we see Todoroki, who's looking down at the Zuko, thinking, if I want to prove that I can beat my father, be better than him without his quirk, seems that I think you might be the best choice in this. As he stares from afar at the Zuko. And this will be ending this part of the What If. I do hope you enjoy. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to hit that notification bell, set it to all so that you're properly updated for all my vids when they upload. With that being said, hope you enjoyed. Please remember, and well, yeah, remember to like and comment and all that. So, later.